What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about how to best organize your box. So we're just going to be going through a couple of the most important features, a couple of the most important things to keep in mind, with the box filtering, things like that. This is going to help you, one, not only just make your box appear a little bit more palatable, so it's a little bit easier to remember which characters you have, which ones you still need to work on, things like that. But then also make it so that it takes a lot less time for you to handle box maintenance. Basically, if you are somebody that wants to get your box fully clean and you're tired of having just the hundreds of extra dupes of random units sitting around, I'm going to show you the most efficient way to be able to get all of that stuff done, get your account set so that every time you summon in the future, it'll be really smooth, easygoing process for you to be able to finish all of the units, feed in all of your dupes and everything like that. So okay, so basically where we're at right here is in the character growth tab. So on this page here, when you come to the team tab, there are two places that you can view your box. We've got the growth tab here, and we also have the character list. So for the majority of this video, we are going to be in the growth tab for a couple of specific reasons. But I guess I'll show you the difference just so that you know. The character list is also going to allow you to view all your characters. Now with the character list here, this does not show any type of activation for characters that need to be trained or awakened or anything like that. It's just going to show the cards off, right? So you don't get any additional information at a first glance here. You do have the bonus of being able to see your maximum of box space and then the amount of units that you're currently taking up in your box space here. So that is one benefit of the character list, of being able to see those. But then if we go to the growth tab here, you're going to be able to see a little bit more information because with the, on the training tab that we're under right here, any of the units that are glowing are ones that we know need to be trained. And then any units that are doled out are ones that we know do not need to be trained. And we have this little toggle at the bottom that replaces that little box space number, which is unfortunate. I wish that they would find a way to also add that in here so that we could view that information in this character growth tab, but unfortunately not. So yeah, if you toggle that on, then you can see only units that need to be trained will still be in here, and all the ones that are finished training will no longer appear. And then same thing for the awaken portion of the tab. And then, turning that off will show any units that need to be awakened, which is quite a few of these. But that's just because I've farmed so many extra copies of units, right? Okay, and then same thing for the link skill tab. So this one will show you the grayed out ones are already link level 10, and the glowing ones need to be link leveled still. So yeah, that's why I prefer to use the growth tab. I just feel like it gives us a little bit more information. It's going to help us a little bit more down the line. So now, currently, you'll notice that there's some information at the top of the screen missing. This might be the same way for your box. This might be exactly how your box looks right now. I have sorted my box the way that the default is for the game. So when you first launch the game, this is how it's going to be for you. So the first couple of changes that I'm going to recommend that you make, the very first of which, we're going to come all the way down here, so the little filter button that you have on the bottom right here, that's going to allow you to sort and filter by different things. We want to go ahead and turn tags on. So turning the tags on is going to add all of these tags to the top of your box here. Now, this is just 7 different tags that you can manually assign to anything. You can name them whatever you want, and then you can manually add and subtract characters from them. So this is the part that is going to take a lot of legwork up front if you are trying to organize your box in a really neat and tidy fashion. You're going to have to go through your entire box to find all of the characters that you want in any given one of these tags. So let me first go over with you which tags I've made and which ones I think it's important that you make and why. Okay, so the very first one that I want to go over here is, I think these are the most important two right here. So I've got one that is a workshop tab, and then I have another that is a team building tab. So these two tabs are really helpful because they help, take a lot of the clutter away from the rest of your box. So for instance, anything that goes in the workshop is any unit I want to work on. So this is where I would begin. Make yourself a workshop tab, and then go through all of your units and just decide one by one if it's a unit that you think is something you would need to like farm super attack level for, or if it's something that you need to farm Dokkan Awakening medals for, or if it's a character that's finished but you just still need to remember to take them into the hidden potential system and add some hidden potential nodes, whatever. If there's anything at all that needs to be worked on the card prior to it being able to be like a usable character in battle, then go ahead and add them to the workshop tag. So the way that you can actually use your tags is if you press and hold on any given unit, open up their detail list and scroll all the way down and click this little edit button down here, you'll be able to add them to any of the tags that you already have available. So you can do it manually that way through each individual card. You can also come over here to the tag itself and then click this select characters button, and then this will allow you to roll through your entire box and click character by character and then add them all at once. So you have both of those options available to you for adding tags onto characters. So just know that that is a possible potential that you have there. So yeah, the workshop is the very first one that I would recommend. And then the other equally important one would be the team building tag. So what I use this for is any characters that are actually usable characters that I plan to put on teams. Because there are so many extra characters that people hang on to nowadays. Lots of people decide to, you know, hang on to like SSR copies and unawakened copies of characters just for additional characters to link level, or, you know, back in the day it was relevant for chain battle, and I think a lot of people are still holding out hope that we make it an event or like some type of event like that in the future where it requires you to use unawakened copies of cards. So a lot of people do have expansive collections that go beyond just the very top copy of units, right? So I would recommend making a team building tag. And even if you aren't that type of player and you only are the type of player that's going to collect the top copies of units, that's okay, because this will help you differentiate all of the like fodder garbage that's sitting in your account for just like super attack leveling purposes or characters you haven't farmed up yet, right? Having the team building tag will be a really, really clean way for you to make teams. So anytime you are building a team for an event specifically, you can just come over here to this team building tag, and then let's say I need like I'm trying to build an artificial life forms team for something, right? Then we can just filter by artificial life forms, and I know that every single unit I'm looking at here is a potential click for me to put on the team, rather than going over here where I have all these extra copies of units and SRs and stuff that I've saved that I'm never going to put on teams. It's just a lot more convoluted and hard to figure out which units exactly you're supposed to be selecting for your team, right? So the team building tag and the workshop tag, that's basically the ideals behind using both of those. So now, as you can see here, I also have a link level tag. I think if you are the type of player that is concerned with link leveling, if you care about link leveling your characters, which I would recommend for most people, to at least keep track of which units you do have link leveled and not, even if you aren't a hardcore grinder of them. Almost every account is going to have some characters at link level 10, right? So I think it's wise that once you get your characters out of the workshop, so basically there's a bit of a linear flow to this, right? They start in the workshop, and then once you fully finish them and they don't need to be in the workshop anymore, you can take them off the workshop tag and put them on the team building tag. In fact, I can probably do that with these guys here. Yeah, because I had them in the workshop because I needed to farm up their super attack levels after they had Extreme Z awakened. But now that I have finished farming that up, they don't need to be in the workshop anymore. So I can take them off of workshop, and then they were already in the team building tag because they had just gotten EZAs, so they aren't like new units. But then in this case, I would go ahead and add them to my team building tag so that they transfer on over to the correct spot where they're supposed to be at, right? And then at that point, once you put them in the team building tag, it's now a usable unit, so you might consider link leveling it. So then I would also go ahead and add them to the link leveling tab at the same time. And then anytime you finish a unit, you could have a link level 10 tag available, but it's not really necessary because there is a filter for that at this point. You can just look at which characters need to be link leveled and which characters don't. So the link level tag isn't really the most important thing. But what this is going to do for you is that if you were to just go to your link level up possible and then have your entire box here, now this is going to show you all of the extra fodder garbage, like all these random SRs and stuff that you're not using, are also going to show up in here. Whereas if you have a link level tag, then it's only going to be the units you have specifically designated to be there, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to build link level teams and see which characters are left that are like the best characters you have to link level and stuff. So just, again, another way for it to be a little less convoluted for you. So yeah, the link level tag could be good. Another tag that I have here is called 9s. So these are only characters that have all level 9 or higher links. For me specifically, I like to make sure it's 4 links or more at level 9. And then what I do is, if you are someone who purchases the guaranteed link level keys through the monthly packs, then you can take all these characters with the level 9 links and fully link level 10 them. For free through that guaranteed link level event. Because obviously, you're not going to want to waste those keys on units that have any lower links, right? So that's basically what I've got going for this 9s tag. Some people like to use their team building tags, and they will just straight up build a team of those all level 9 units, and then eventually just go use all the teams in that event. That's another solid way to do it. But I've figured out that if I'm link leveling over time, you do not actually have to leave your link level stage in order to get into the box. Actually, I think I won't get super into that. We'll go into that a little bit later in the video. I'm going to talk about a few efficient methods of, like, box surfing and stuff like that. But yeah, like, just know that you would have to completely leave the event that you're link leveling on in order to add a character to a team versus swapping the tags that unit is on. You can edit that straight from the screen of where you're team building for that event and then just keep running the event. So it's a lot quicker, I've found. And then having to, like, re-navigate through the entire game. So yeah, that's the 9s tag. And then this one is a leaders tag. So I have specifically designated this to be 160% and plus leaders. So any units that have a leader skill of 160 stats or higher is listed in here. Obviously do whatever you want with that. If you're not the type of person who would use anything below a 200% team, then by all means, make it a 200% leaders tag. Again, you are going to have to manually select these units at first, so that is going to be probably the hardest part, is when you go to select characters, and then you have to first be knowledgeable enough, or at least take a look at every single one of your characters and know which one of them are going to be usable as leaders. But over time, you'll be able to get them all. It won't be too hard. As you can see, even with 10 years of collection in this game, we don't even have 200 of these characters yet. So, yeah, so it's not going to be super, super hard, but that will be a little bit of a time sink. But once you do it, I promise it'll be really, really useful. Because if you're ever going into an event where it's like, okay, we'll do the example again of artificial life forms, right? We need to use an artificial life forms team. We can come over here to our leaders, and then immediately, even better than just having the team building tag with all of our artificial life forms cards, now we can see exactly which units we could potentially use as our leaders and start there, right? And then know, okay, let's take a look at this Fat Boo. This is a pretty good card. He'll be good for the event, and his leader skill is much wider spread than just artificial life forms. So now at this point, you can just cross-reference using him as your lead, and then look at any characters that are on Majin Buu Saga and Artificial Life Forms by using this little tag here. So you could do Majin Buu Saga and Artificial Life Forms, and then this will give you any units that are on both. And then once you've selected a couple of units out of there, you can switch to Storied Figures and Artificial Life Forms, select whatever units out of here, and so on. And then be able to build teams in a much more efficient manner where you know exactly which ones are going to be usable under whatever leader skills and stuff. So yeah. That is why I recommend the leader skill tab there. Definitely can be really, really helpful. And then sometimes with specific events where it is actually limiting you to a team, it's not like a mission clear where you get extra credit for using a specific team, but it's like, you're actually required to only use that team. In fact, I will show you. Let's go to Super Battle Road really quick, because that is a place that it will proc. So we'll jump into a Super Battle Road stage. And in Super Battle Road, okay, yeah, this will be a perfect example. So Power Beyond Super Saiyan. When we go in here to build a team, it's only going to be showing us characters that are on Power Beyond Super Saiyan. It filters out everything else for us because that's the only things available in the game, right? So let's say we want to build a Power Beyond Super Saiyan team, and then who are we looking through for our lead? Let's say, like, oh, this guy looks good for it. He's got a... actually, I want to do someone with multiple leader skills. Like him. Or no, wait, he's just... Oh, yeah, Movie Hero's Final Trump card. Okay, perfect. So, yeah, we'll use him as our leader, and then now we can further go by Movie Heroes and Final Trump card, and we can do partial match since we know that it's already limiting us to Power Beyond Super Saiyan characters. Now, this is every single character. If we come over here to team building, this is every single character that's going to be available under his leader skill that will still be on the, Power Beyond Super Saiyan. So it's really, really organized, and I don't have to worry about, like, all the rest of the junk in the box, right? So yeah, super, super good way to go with that. Okay, now coming back over here, so that is basically it for the leaders tag. That's why I have the leaders tag there. And then I guess these other ones don't really matter. Free to play, this is just me having manually set aside which are all the free-to-play units in the game, and then these are all characters that you can earn from World Tournament. Those are just two random classes of collections of units that there's no other way to filter for further, and I enjoy those as things that I can show off for my collection. So, you know, those ones aren't super necessary. I think I've showed off all the vital ones that are really important for, you know, box organization, I think is these first 5 here. And then you can kind of do whatever with these other ones. If you have, you know, I know some people use stickers, like any cards that they've given stickers to, because there's no other way to filter for those, that you could use a tag for all of those characters. Yeah, many others. Some people have tags for, like, super easy A characters just because they like to see how pretty it looks with all the, you know, like, electric wiring going on around the outside of the cards and stuff. So yeah, lots of other things that you could do. I could make an entire video just about all the different options for tags that you have available, you know, including the ones I've used and many others that I am not currently taking advantage of. But yeah, I think I went over all the basic ones that you would need for box organization. I think those are the best ones there. Okay, so now the next thing that I want to talk about, on top of the tags, is we are still in the default sorting order. Now, in order to understand this a little bit better, take a look at this entire list up here. So there are quite a few different ways that you can display your characters, right? So favorites, this is going to be any ones that have a lock symbol on them. So if you have, oops, didn't mean to go back there. If you press and hold on any card, it'll open up their card details right here, and then in the top right corner, you can activate this lock on and off. So with that lock on, that is now going to be a favorited character. Any character that you're planning on keeping in the game, I would recommend doing that for. So any characters that you're going to be adding to your workshop, I would go ahead and lock 1 copy of them. Even if it's a character you have, like, let's say with this Borgos right here, you have 15 copies of him sitting, and you are planning on feeding in a bunch of them to himself for super attack leveling, and then feeding in more copies into his hidden potential system and stuff to get him maxed out. I would still take 1 copy, whichever copy of the card you're going to put into the workshop, and go ahead and lock that copy as well. That way you've got it locked up there, and he'll be a favorite character. Okay, so anyway, back to this. So that's favorites. Typing is going to be all the 5 typings in the game. So AGL, Tech, Int, STR, and Fizz. It will just keep them in order of that. The level is going to be whatever, you know, level they're up at. So LRs are obviously going to be the highest with 150. Easy Aid characters are down at 140. TUR characters are down at 120. And then UR characters at 100. Everything below that just gets lower and lower from there, right? So that's how you organize by level. We've also got rarity. So this is specifically going to be LR, UR, SSR, SR, rare, normal, right? Which is pretty closely aligned to level, but it is possible to have like an LR character, but right as soon as you awaken them to LR, they're only at level 1 before you train them up, so they would be way at the bottom even though they are an LR. So that's technically the difference between those two. Cost. So every single unit has a cost. If you open up the unit, you can see here right next to their level bar, you can see the cost for the unit. Free-to-play LRs are going to be the highest cost, which is why you can see them all up here with 99, and then summonable LRs are going to be 77. Dokkan Fest exclusives are 58. I think banner units go down from there, and there's a lot of variation at that point, like 38, 24, things like that, and then it just gets lower and lower from there. The cost of your characters will go up the higher they are awakened as well. Okay, and then you can do by HP, attack, or defense stats. So that will just show basically whatever the base stat is sitting on the card here. It'll just put them in order for all 3 of those stats. Any one of the 3 that you choose. I know personally this is how DeTruth organizes his boxes by attack, so that he has all of the, you know, highest attack units at the top. This is just, it's always been such a funky way to organize the box, especially because these things will change over time. You know, if a unit gets an easy A or something, then they're going to jump higher to the top, which I guess just does mean that for the most part, the most relevant units are going to be at the top of the box. So that's kind of the thing that he's achieving with that. But I don't think that it's the most efficient. I think there is a better way. Okay, and then by acquired, so this is going to be the order in which the units have been received. So the oldest units that I've ever gotten, you can see, are all the way down here, and then you could just look at my lifespan of the game, how we've gone through, and basically this is every unit that I've pulled in order of pulling them, right? All the way up through the brand new units, and these units here that I just finished summoning from the Goku and Vegeta story you know, red zone ticket summons. So I just went and got all these units as well. Which we are going to be doing some box maintenance with these units that I have here. That was why I picked now to do this video, because I had some extra units in the box that we could show off doing some box maintenance, so we will get there in a minute. But let me continue on my rant here. So, yeah, that is filtering by acquired. That can be quite neat for right after you've summoned. If you just want a quick recap of everything that you've summoned, you could just look at SSRs acquired, and then this is every single SSR that you just pulled. Will be all the way up at the top for you, and then you could just notify like where you started summoning. So like right here would be the point where it's no longer this summoning session, but that was everything I got for the summoning session. So you can get really nice screenshots of that to be able to show off on social media if you got a lot of really good pulls in one sitting, right? Okay. So then we have organizing by character. Now this one's a little bit interesting because there are just pre-existing character codes within Dokkan Battle based on when the devs actually created these cards and stuff, right? So the very first ones that are going to be coded will be all the way down at the bottom. And it goes not by specific card identity, but just by character name. So Super Saiyan Goku is the very first one. There will never be a character below Super Saiyan Goku if you go by character, because he has the very first character code. And this means that anytime a new Super Saiyan Goku card is released, even though it's a brand new character, that name already has a character code, so it goes all the way down at the bottom here with the Super Saiyan Gokus. So basically what I'm telling you is every single Super Saiyan Goku that I have in my box, they're all right here. They are all visible to me right here. And then it goes to Super Saiyan Vegeta, and then it goes to just base Goku, and then after that, just base Vegeta. There's so many base Gokus in here, oh my god. And then we go to first form Frieza, we go to first form Cell, Kid Gohan, and then it just moves on as you go up. So there are going to be gigantic chunks in here of the exact same unit, tons of blue Gokus, tons of blue Vegetas, tons of golden Friezas, tons of Beerus's, Whis', right, so, and then obviously it just gets a little bit more convoluted once you get up to the top here, because this is where all of the individual named characters have already been released into game. They already had character codes, and now what you're going to be seeing is like Heroes units that had never had a name in the game before, or a lot of Join Forces units that have a new name for the first time because of it being a paired card and stuff like that, right? So it gets a lot more funky up here at the top, but for like the bottom 80% of the box, it's going to be really, really intelligible to hunting down which cards you want if you're in this character order. And then also, because it doesn't change over time, like I said, if a new character comes out that has the same name as a previous character, then as long as you've kept your box, so I personally have kept my box filtered by character for the longest time. So I'm really, really familiar with whereabouts a lot of these character names are. So it's pretty easy for me to scroll down that far to know what I'm going to need, right? Or like which, you know, how far I'm going to need to go in order to get to whichever character. And then a lot of the times, if it is a new character with a new name, then they do show up pretty close to the top of the list. So that will help you out as well. If it's someone that you're less familiar with, or obviously would have a brand new name, then you're not going to have to scroll that far to find them anyway. So yeah, organizing by character, I think, is the best one. Okay, so then moving on, we have super attack level. So yeah, all of your units do have a super attack that you can feed in same name characters to raise, or feed in Elder Kais to raise. This is just going to show you all of those in order. So obviously all of our Easy Aid LRs all the way up there at super attack 25 are going to be at the very top, and then it will just be normal LRs at 20. Super strike units and Easy Aid units will be at SA 15, and then all of your normal, everything else will be at SA 10 or lower from that point on, right? So this one, for me, I can actually show off. Most of my entire box is fully finished, being super attack leveled. I just have a small chunk of units in here at the bottom, and then this very last chunk is all just like the units I just pulled that are probably not going to be kept, right? Okay, so super attack level, and then activation is another way to organize your box here. So you could go by you know, the hidden potential node activation. So obviously any of your rainbowed units are going to be all the way up at 100%. And then moving down lower through that, all the ones that have 3 out of 4 dupe paths will be... Where are we at here? It's such a small collection of units that aren't rainbowed here. Okay, here we go. So yeah, they'll all be at 90%. And then below that, when you only have 2 dupe paths fed in, they'll be at 79% here. 1 dupe path fed in, they would be at 69%. And then no dupe paths and just at the free investment level will be 55%, and then if you have no investment at all, they'll show a 0 here. So yeah, that can be a decent way to organize as well, for when you're looking to like feed in dupes of characters, I suppose, but still not the most useful, especially just because it does change, right? That's the main thing with like all of these. And then max level, this is the same as level, but it's not measuring their current level, it's measuring the maximum possible that they could be at, right? So even if you look at characters down here, like this guy, oh, well, I guess he is at level 40. That's kind of a bad example. I'm not sure if I have anybody else in here that is like unleveled. Well, yeah, no, I suppose one of the new cards that I just picked up would be above, like, yeah, all these, right? So you can see right here, like, this Bojack is at 65, and then this Frieza is at 80, and technically the Bojack is up higher, but it's just because they have the same max level rather than the level they're actually at now. So that's how that one works. But yeah, of all of these, I think that the most important one is to go by character. Now, one other important thing to note about this display order is that it has a memory of 3 deep. So you can actually organize your characters by 3 different iterations of these at the same time. So if we're organizing by character, notice how right now it's also going by activation and then by max level and then by character. So that's first helping us make sure that all the rainbowed ones are in front, and then the ones that have the highest possible level, because this is at like 140 versus 120 on this one, are going to be next, and then it's going by character. I think that is a really important thing to note, just so that you can have your characters not only grouped together, but then also in order, to where you can see like the highest rarities and stuff at the front, and then moving down. So there's a lot of different ways that you could do this. You could do by level, rarity, and then character. You could go by activation, rarity, character. Rarity is a pretty good one to help out with, but I think the max level one is pretty equivalent to rarity. So yeah, lots of different ways to play around with it, but just remember that it does have a 3 deep limit on there, and it will show 3 deep. Is like the most memory that little system has. So you could play around with that more. But yeah, I think organizing by character, this is definitely the best way. Okay, so now that we've got all of those tips and tricks out of the way, you noticed I already showed off I had a collection of units from my most recent summoning session. So with all these tips in place, here is how we go about doing this. The very first thing that you're going to want to do when you when you pull a bunch of units is you're first going to want to go to your hidden potential box, because this is where you're going to see which units are, that you're able to feed in attacks for, or feed in dupes for, right? So by default, it will show every single unit that you have in your box that's at the UR level or higher. Those are all going to be eligible to feed in dupes. And then if you click the little toggle on down here, it will just show units that you have an available dupe to feed in. Now, don't panic. This is not, this is way more than like my entire box worth of units to summon in. There are a lot of units here that I have just collected multiple copies of over time. So for instance, these first 2 here, I don't actually have an extra android sitting in my box. As you can see, I only have 1 copy of her here and here. I don't have an extra SSR sitting. It's just showing that they could feed into each other, because the only way that you can get a unit to not proc as an available dupe for another character is if you've rainbowed it. So I would first have to rainbow this unit here, and then it would no longer show that there's an available copy to feed into this 55% version here. So this is just something that I did over time because I was trying to give myself more units to link level. So I would keep the SSR copies of units before rainbowing the LR, or like the TUR or LR copies. I'm not doing that anymore, so now I'm just working on filtering out this entire box from there. So yeah, just keep in mind that there are quite a few units that I have done that kind of thing for that we're not going to be able to feed in dupes for here, but there also are quite a few that we will. Okay, this is a perfect example of a unit that we've got to feed in. Okay, so I do have a copy of him sitting. Now, because he's at the TUR level right now, notice that I have... okay, so this SSR that's sitting is the one we're going to feed into the TUR, but when we feed it in, it's going to reverse him down to the SSR level. For me specifically, if you are the type of person who is only keeping top copies of your units, you're not going to have to worry about this step. You'll be in a little bit of an easier position. But for someone like me who keeps like all these TUR and SSR copies of all these characters, I have to do this extra step just to make sure to keep my box extra organized here. So what we're going to do here is we're first going to feed in the dupe. So we'll go ahead and feed in the top left path here. Okay. And then he goes down to the SSR level. So now, since I already have Hidden Potential System investment in him, I'm going to go ahead and continue to add that on so that I don't lose track of that for any given character. I suppose this could be the type of thing that you do, maybe you would have another box for, right? I always have enough Hidden Potential Orbs that anytime I need to activate Hidden Potential Orbs in someone, I have the orbs for it. But if you're orb deficient, maybe that could be another tag you could use in your box as one for, characters that need to be invested Hidden Potential System orbs in specifically. But again, I think that that's perfectly fine to just leave them in the workshop so you know that they're a unit that needs to be worked on. So if I didn't have the Hidden Potential System nodes to invest in him right there, I maybe would have just added him to the workshop so that I would remember to feed those in later, right? Okay, so now, if I were to go and leave this card and go pick a different character now, then that means that this character is now going to be sitting at the SSR level, which is not good because I have another dupe there already. They're both at the SSR level, and I need to know which one needs to go back up to that TUR level, which would be the one that needs to be link leveled still, right? So just to keep that straight, because I have so many units that are currently reversed and sitting, down at the unawakened level, I am going to go ahead and re-reverse him up right away. So straight from this Hidden Potential screen before we leave it all, we're going to click and hold on the card, go to Growth, and then we're going to come down here to the Reverse Dokkan Awakening, and this is going to allow him to push him back up to the TUR level. So you'll see doing that right away is going to be really important because this is my entire list of characters that I have the availability to do that for. So if we were to sit there and, invest Hidden Potential into like 20 different characters that we just pulled or something, and then come into this list and try and re-reverse all of them after, it's going to be really, really hard for me to remember specifically which characters I needed to reverse and which ones not, right? So with that considered, that's why I do it one at a time. But if you're not the type of person who collects all of these SSR copies, then this entire list would be empty for you, and then you could just do it all at the end because you could just come into this list here, which you're going to be able to find right here on the reverse tag under the team building, or under the team tab here. And then, these are all of the units that you can reverse. So they would all be sitting in there at once, and then you could just do them all at once at the end. So for me, just know I have to do them one at a time. Which is a little bit tedious because then I do have to go back and forth between the Hidden Potential System and that reversal system. But it's the best way for me to stay organized, and that is the entire point of the video, right, is staying organized here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do, like, a couple more here, just so you can see examples of what I'm talking about. So this is a UI Goku that we had a copy of, so we're able to get the TUR to 90% now, which is good stuff. There we go, invest his orbs, and then because, again, I do have the SSR copy sitting as well, I don't want to get them confused, so let me go ahead and push him back up to the TUR level. And then we'll go back into the Hidden Potential System. And then basically for me, that's a rinse and repeat. We just keep doing the same thing over and over until all of the units in here are finished up that we've got done. So I am going to go ahead and fully finish this part of the mission because there is another thing that we've got to get to where we're going to go back into the box. So this is like the next part of box maintenance, right? So let me go ahead and make a cut. I'm going to finish this off camera because it's going to be a really redundant process for me to do this for all the units that are available to do this here. And then I'll come back to you once we've finished. Okay, so I have finally finished. Now everything left sitting in here I don't actually have usable dupes for. Most of it is being procced either by, another unit that's sitting alongside it in here. For instance, like this Mercenary Tau. It's just the TUR and SSR copies that are making each other flash. So that is the majority of the units in here. And then there are a few units that have some special cases, I think like this guy here, where I actually farmed up the SSR Unawakened before doing the TUR here, so now the TUR just flashes that there's an available character here, because remember, those are not going to go away unless the characters in your box are rainbowed, but because he's unawakened, not even to the UR level, you can't invest Hidden Potential into him, so he is just permanently going to be flashing for a character like that. So I do have quite a few characters in here that are you know, suffering from that effect as well. But basically, I have no more dupes that I can actually feed. This is fully finished at this point. So let's go ahead and jump back over to our growth tab, and now we will start the next part of box maintenance, right? Which is you've already fed in all the dupes that you can, so everything else that's going to be still sitting in your box is going to be good for one of two things, right? Well, potentially more than two things. But the main two things is either going to be a brand new unit that you've collected that you can now, like, add to your favorites and, you know, begin to super attack level and things like that, or it's going to be a character that you can use as super attack food for another unit. So because of that, this is why I think at this point, even if you don't keep your box organized like this normally, at this point in the process, it's really, really smart to have your box organized by character, because that way you're going to be able to see all the other same named units right around it to know what the new cards that you have, whether they're usable as super attack food for any other given units, right? So really, really important to do that at this point. So as you can see here, I can scroll pretty quickly because all these units are grayed out. Any of the units that are grayed out, you're not going to be able to... They don't have any training to do, so there's no point. We're just going to be pausing whenever we get to a lit up unit, which obviously if they are already locked, then I know it's just a unit that we need to add super attack levels to that I previously owned. So we're going to be mainly looking for like the unlocked units. This is just a little pile of Para brothers that I needed to use for their EZA, but I have already since done that. So those are chilling. Okay. So yeah, basically we're just going to keep hunting until we come across any of the new cards that we pulled, which, because those were that banner was very specific to only Goku and Vegeta units, it's probably mostly going to be all the way at the very bottom where the Goku and Vegeta named units are, so we can kind of scroll pretty quickly until we get to that point, and then we'll start showing off some of the stuff that we can show off there. Okay, so here's the first one. So we went and already already did all of our dupes and everything, so now we know that this Super Saiyan 3 Goku is not usable. Now, one little side tip that I want to give is that, okay, so for right now, if we were to go, we want to double check if this is going to, like, in fact be a usable unit for us. It looks like we can feed him into super attack leveling for that. Oh, that was what I was going to show. So, you know, if you were to take any given card here, and then you click and hold on it, and then you back out, it's going to default you back to the top of this list. Now, after you have hundreds or even thousands of characters in your box, that's going to be quite annoying. There is one little trick you can do to get around this. If you just single tap on a unit, instead of, you don't want to click and hold, but you just want to tap. You can only tap on units that need to be trained while you're under the training tag here. So we'll tap on them to open up this little training tag, and now the short-term memory of this box leads you there. So now anytime you are going to click and hold on any unit, we'll go like all the way down here, click and hold on this unit, and then back up, it's going to take us right to... What? It should have taken us right to the... wait, that's awkward. Why did it do that? It should have taken us right to the STR... Goten and Trunks. I don't know why that happened. Okay, let's try it again. We'll tap on Invisible Man, so that is the available card to us, and then we'll click and hold on them, back up, and there you go. It takes us right to the Invisible Man. So that is something that you can utilize anytime you're going to be checking a card. If you've scrolled way, way far down, and you're going to be double checking on like the status of a card. So for instance, once we get to the point where we're at the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, before I click and hold to see the growth details, I'm going to first tap to open it so that we're in the training section of him, and then now I can back out. Now when I do my clicking and holding on this card, so I'll click and hold on him and we'll open him up just to see this little growth tag. When I back out, it's still going to be at the same spot in the box. Okay, so yeah, as we can see here, we don't yet have his... Unawakened SSR at SA10, unfortunately. It's only at SA2, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and feed that one in for a super attack level. And then also we could see that this Unawakened SSR, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, we also could feed in for super attack level. So worst case scenario, if, you know, once we get this guy finished, then having everything organized by name here, it's going to be really super simple for us to see, oh yeah, we just got to feed it into this guy instead, right? The AGL one, once the STR one's done. Because they're sitting right next to each other in the box. So yeah, for now, I'll go ahead and just feed that in. And that'll be good. Okay, and then we don't have any extra cards to work on there, so let's continue to move down the list. Oh, okay, so this guy. So again, let's tap so that we can make sure to stay at this point in the box, but then we can double check. Yeah, so he is at SA8, Super Saiyan 2 Goku GT. This is the same named unit, Super Saiyan 2 Goku GT. So we can go ahead and just fire up a couple copies of this right away. I'll just go ahead and awaken these to 50%. And then again, this is a really, really easy peasy way to know if any of the random fodder like SRs that you've been pulling are going to be usable for you and stuff, right? So I can see very clearly there that I have a character sitting right next to them that they can easily be fed into, right? So it takes all the brain work out of it. You just have to compare like units that are literally sitting next to each other in the box, and then go from there. So yeah, I think being organized by character here is going to help you massively. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and feed these in. I'll just feed in all 4. Why not? There we go. And then now he is at the max super attack level he can be at. Awesome. So then I know I don't need any of the rest of those. We can keep moving on. Okay. All locked units. Still nothing new to feed in. Tons of locked units all over the place. Okay, we have some GT Vegetas, but it doesn't look like there's any units around that we could feed in super attack level for, so we'll leave those alone. Okay. It's gonna get a little bit more juicy once we get to the bottom here. Okay, so like this is a good example. Okay, so again, we're gonna tap on him really quick so that we are stuck at this point in the box, and then let's go ahead and take a look at the growth. So you would assume that this was one that we could feed into the hidden potential system because it's just an SSR. But I guess this means that whatever copy of him we had, we finished. So now all 3 of these are actually at the full rainbow level at this point. So that wasn't actually a usable dupe for us. But you can see this is the only one that we have for the SSR slot. So we're going to actually keep this character. So we're going to go ahead and lock him up. And then the next step that we want to do is we're going to add him to the link level tag. Because we know we want to link level him, right? And then I'm also going to add him to Workshop, because this is another unit that I want to make sure to work on his super attack leveling, so I won't have to come back through the box normally and see that. It'll be in a much smaller list of units in the Workshop later on, and then since I don't see an immediate, you know, pool of units right here that I can feed in for super attack leveling, we're going to go ahead and have to do that later. Now, luckily for me, I might as well talk about this now. Luckily for me, when I'm going to feed in super attack for a character, something that I have the option to do, because I went and farmed up the entire free-to-play version of the game, once you've done that, this will be a really, really helpful tip for you as well. You can go into here, go into training, and then automatically it's going to be showing you all the characters that are available for super attack leveling. So this is going to give you all of your Kai options, but it's also going to show you every character that's currently sitting in your box that has the exact same name as that unit, right? So we can look through here and see, I know for a fact this unit is just something you can purchase in the Baba shop. So I'll probably just end up doing that with Incredible Gems to buy him. And then we'll just feed in those dupes. And then I can look and see that all these other Super Saiyan 2 Vegetas are summonable characters that are not going to be available for super attack leveling. So, yeah, so that is our option there for free-to-play. If it were like a unit that you can farm up from a story event, then you would be able to click on that unit here, go to their Awakening Medal, and then have their Awakening Medal take you directly to the stage that you would need in order to farm them up. So you never even have to leave your box to be able to find exactly where to go to farm super attack levels. But that's once you have all of the free-to-play characters done. Then you'll have that option, right? Okay, so for now, we'll leave him in the workshop, move on to the next thing. Doesn't look like we have anything to farm up with Bojack right now. Okay, we've got a couple Kaioken Gokus here. So again, we're going to click and hold, or not click and hold, but just simple tap in order to stay where we're at in the box. And then now we can take a look at his growth tab here. So yeah, it looks like we have all these 3 rainbowed at this point, since it wasn't an available dupe for us to feed in, which means now this isn't another SSR copy we're going to be able to keep. So let's go ahead and put him onto Workshop and Link level. There we go. Okay, and then same deal for him. This is our first TUR copy. We weren't able to feed him into the LR, so we're going to keep him, throw him onto Link level and Workshop as well. Okay, and then we can check the same exact thing for him. Yep, this is going to be the very first SSR copy here, so that is another one that goes on to Workshop there. And then, because all of these are Kaioken Goku, we're going to be able to see the same list of super attack farmable units, but it's going to be this guy right here who is farmable from the Lord Slug event, and you'll be able to see exactly which event that is easily by clicking on this medal and then going to the exact stage to farm up the characters there. So yeah, those guys are all ready to go in the workshop now. Awesome. That's actually exciting. 3 more Kaioken Gokus there all at the same time. That'll make the super attack farming really easy because I can just go get like 27 copies of that that Kaioken Goku and call it good. Okay. Nothing real to farm up here. Let's see. What else have we got? I'm sure there's going to be a couple more like Gokus and Vegetas at the bottom here. Okay. Oh, yeah, so these are just a bunch of SRs that we got from those ticket summons. Obviously, no base Vegetas that we need to farm up, so those are chillin' for now. And then, yeah, that looks like about it. So, a couple more Gokus. We don't have any Gokus that need to be farmed up, though, with those. Okay, so here we go. We've got a Super Saiyan Vegeta. We'll go ahead and short press to lock ourselves to this part of the box, and then we can check his growth. Okay, yeah, so again, we have a SSR copy there because all the other ones were rainbowed. So link level and workshop, perfect. But we also have a big stack of Super Saiyan Vegetas that will feed in with the exact same name as this guy, right? So lucky for us, we don't even have to do this right now because he is on our workshop, but then later on we can keep that in mind to come back and use all of these, right? And that'll also be something viewable through this part, right? We'll be able to see them all here when we go to see which training characters are available. We'll see that we have all those. So I probably won't bore you guys with it now. We already showed it off with the GT Super Saiyan 2 Goku. But yeah, we would just awaken these guys to give them a 50% chance to feed in each. And I would imagine between all of these left, that's probably going to be enough to SA10 this guy. So that'll be kind of convenient. Okay, and then bringing up the rear here, we have a couple of Super Saiyan Gokus to look at. So for the Spirit Bomb Absorbed Goku, it looks like this is going to be the very first copy of the Uneasy Aid LR. So I've got the Easy Aid LR, the TUR, and the SSR are all rainbowed. So now I'm going to start working on this copy of the card. So great. I will go ahead and lock him up. We'll put him on link level and workshop. Very good. Actually, this is an example of a character I don't want to put on link level yet because he's going to get extra links once we awaken him, so I don't want to accidentally link level him before that point. So I'm just going to keep him on workshop until I eventually awaken him to an LR. Then at that point, I'll add him to link level because it will make a difference at that point. Whereas all those other units that I added to link level, they're only going to stay at the base SSR level anyway, so it's not going to make a difference for them whether I link level them before or after adding their super attack level. Okay, and then we have this tech Super Saiyan Goku. As you can see here, we already had one in every slot for all of those, and because we know we fed in all of our hidden potential system, those are all rainbowed. And then I also already have the unawakened SSR copy ready to go here. So this unit I can actually not use for anything. So I have that confirmed to me at this point through looking through the growth system, which means the only possible thing I can use him for is super attack leveling for another character, because we pulled him from a ticket banner, so we can't actually trade him in for coins. So it's either we use him as super attack food or we just straight up Baba him, right? So I figure I might as well use him as super attack food. Let's go ahead and just awaken him for the 100% chance to feed in, and then we'll just feed him straight into the Spirit Bomb Goku right next to him. Might as well. No reason why not, right? Take that, and then scroll down here. There we go. 100% chance to feed in for a super attack level there. There we go. Okay, so hopefully I have exemplified a lot of the ways to kind of, you know, diminish the monotony that is like box maintenance. Obviously, no matter who you are, if you've been playing the game for a little while and you have a bunch of clutter in your box, you are first going to have to go through a lot of this clutter to be able to get to the point where I'm at, where you can very, very clearly see what stuff you need and what stuff you don't, and, you know, make this feeding in process easier over time. But I promise you that doing a little bit of that legwork up front is going to be worthwhile. You know, just dedicate a couple hours to it. Throw on a Dokkan and Chill stream in the back and just, you know, like, just sit there and hound through your entire box. Just go little by little. Try not to get overwhelmed with looking ahead at how much more work you have to do. That's only going to discourage you. So just go unit by unit. You'll get, you know, quicker with pressing all the buttons as you go through the process more and more and more. So, you know, feeding in a unit's, you know, own dupes to get them up to SA10, and then eventually feeding in the dupe paths and everything, like, that's all going to become second nature to you. It'll be super, super quick over time, but having all of these tags and stuff and having your box filtered in a way that makes more sense to make it all palatable is just going to make it that much easier for you over time. So there is actually one more piece that I want to talk about here before we get into the outro of the video. So I'm just cutting in here real quick to say, because I forgot to. We'll talk about selling your units to the Baba shop, right? Because once you finish the entire process of keeping everything that you want to keep, chances are you're still going to have a lot of extra fodder sitting in your box that you don't want, right? So when we come over here to the Baba shop, we're going to be able to click this plus icon in the top corner. And this is going to be all of the things that you can exchange within the Baba shop, right? So at the very top of the list, we have all of the coin options. Now, this is getting a little bit convoluted over time, and I wish that they would redo this. But every time a new yellow coin LR comes out, they add another one to this list, and it stays here permanently. And then now that they have started doing pity for all of the filler Dokkan Fest celebrations, they're doing that here as well. So all of these are just adding up so much more selectable tabs. Most of them you're never going to need to use, but the most important ones would be all of the normal colored coins up here, the red coins, yellow coins, teal coins, and blue coins. So the very first thing that you're going to want to do when you finish summoning is check on the coins, right? So if you just finished summoning on a Dokkan Fest banner, then make sure to check the limit coins that are available now and see, keep all of your filters off so every single unit will be available, and then see if you have any units in here that you can possibly trade in for coins, and do that for every single type of banner that you've summoned on since filtering through your box. If you just went and summoned on a red coin banner, then go ahead and check that. And this is why it's really important to lock up your units, because even if you didn't have them worked on yet and they're still in the SSR form, now you have them on the workshop tag and they're locked up, so you know that it's not a unit that is like a relevant one that you would have needed to keep, right? So that's why I think it's really important going with that earlier box maintenance stuff. It's going to help you here as well, so that any units that you had to sell with coins would still be lit up in this box because they would not have been locked. Granted, that is going to be a little bit harder if you still have a bunch of units in your workshop where you have like multiple other dupes of the characters sitting in your box still that you're planning on using for super attack food and stuff. At that point, I would say you probably just need to do a little bit more work on your box before you bother coming in here to sell units, right? So yeah, check that for any of the given types of coins to make sure you can earn some extra coins to buy units in the shop. And then once you have finished with that and you no longer have them available with coins, then you would be coming down here to the other ways that you can trade in well, the only other way to trade in characters is for Baba points, right? And then this is just a bunch of other items that you can trade in for Baba points. So as far as characters are concerned, then you would come over here. Now, any characters that you're going to be trading in will be at the SSR level or lower. So you can first start by filtering out everything that's above that and just come down here to these, right? I personally usually like to do them one at a time, so I would just have SSRs available and then scroll through all, so I know that these Par Brothers were just extra ones I had farmed up that were on top of the additionals I needed. Again, all this grayed out stuff I don't have to worry about because it's all stuff I know I'm keeping because it's locked up. And then we can just look for the highlighted moments here, which there's not going to be too many of. Okay, that's some extra Gokus that I don't need there that I have farmed up. Okay, and that's about it. So that's it for SSRs, and then we'll go to SRs. There's going to be definitely more in here. So we know we didn't need these GT Gokus or these GT Vegetas. These were extra Pycons from those ones that I had farmed up from the Easy A's that I fed super attack level into. Okay, and then there were all these Vegetas, right? We didn't have any Vegetas that needed to be super attack leveled, so we can get rid of all that stuff. And then, yeah, same deal with the base Gokus. We didn't have any of them that needed to be fed in. Okay, and it looks like we hit our limit of 99, so we'll go ahead and confirm and sell all of these, giving us some extra Baba points there, and then we can just continue on here with those. We are going to keep these last couple, though, because there were still some other units that we needed to super attack farm that we'll be hanging on to for those, right? These ones I like to use because you can Dokkan Awaken him into a God Goku, so I'll use it for God Goku super attack leveling, and then those other Super Saiyan Vegetas, we did just pull one brand new Super Saiyan Vegeta that I did not yet farm his super attack for, so we'll go ahead and keep those as well. But there we go, and then you just rinse and repeat the process all the way down through normals, rares, whatever. Obviously, we didn't get any of those in our last summoning session, so we're chilling there. But yeah, there we go. I just wanted to show off that part as well, for possibly getting rid of your units, because obviously that is the most important part of box maintenance, aside from building new characters, is to be able to clear out your box. So now, hopefully, if you are the type of player who is box space deficient, and you have, like, gotten... you need to deplete some of the characters in your box in order to be able to continue playing the game. Hopefully, I have given you every tip and trick under the sun to be able to achieve that a little bit easier for yourself, right? Okay, well, there we go. That is now officially all of the tips and tricks that I have for you guys. So thank you so much for sticking with me. That is going to do it for this one. Don't forget to check out the links in the description below, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.